Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. Moby, Lifestyle with Dr. Moby, and we are honored with Brian Sebastian with us. Hey, sir, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. So let's hear from Brian. Brian, I know you are a TV star and you do host show. And tell us about your show and your work.
Well, it's called Movie Reviews and More. The more is more important because we get a chance to do interviews with 13 co-hosts that I have, all women. And it's one of those things where we have 6.2 million views a day and counting. We
Wow.
have two individuals out of Franklin, Tennessee that have 1 million views and counting. I never thought I would never add that. Um, and it's fun. So we talk about lifestyles, we talk about sports, we talk about fitness, fashion, world of entertainment, and obviously movies.
Okay, cool. So I haven't seen your show yet, but I'll promise after this I'm gonna check it out and give you. So tell us about how did you end up doing these kind of shows?
I've been in radio since 1982, on and off, doing stuff, doing voiceovers, and then 1993 I started doing a public access show where I would talk to, if you remember VHS machines,
Yeah.
VHS put them on channel 3. Well, they would have a
Mhm.
public access channel, so that was my channel.
Wow.
So me and my old partner started talking about movies at that point, and that's kind of how we started getting in and going to private screenings.
Hmm. And you talked at that time about movies too, or different topics?
Now we were always talking about movies, and then we were kind of on the adult side at that point. So we were looking to see what was happening with a lot of the girls on the adult side of things, how they were handling things, how they were traveling, how they were dancing, how they were performing, and then a lot of them, in the meantime, loved the world of art, but they also love movies.
Hmm.
So I would always say, how would you like? Who inspires you? Well, if someone said Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'd say, well, Arnold's got a movie coming in 3 months. Could be Total Recall, or could be at that point. How would you like to meet him? We have to do one-on-ones, and we have to do radio roundtables where it'd be a session like this, where you have like 6 other people around the table, and we would be talking about the movies, thing like that, for 20, 25 minutes.
Wow. And the slabs were open to your calls, like you kind of arranged before, or did it happen spontaneously?
Or you had to be approved through the publicist. So the studio publicist and then personal publicist would approve you. It was
Okay.
a lot tougher. It's not like Zoom. You could reach people and all that. You would have to go through the proper channels, and it wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy because I can imagine now with COVID, it's probably more easier to get people than before that. It was so hard even to have anyone on the shows, right?
Yes, but um, unless, say, if you mentioned George Clooney, well, you can't meet George now. So I know George and I know his publicist. So it's one of those things. If you didn't meet before, good luck trying to make it happen now, because it's not going to happen.
Mhm. And so what is how many are you still doing shows from home, or is it still going to the studios?
Oh, I'm doing 3. I have we've done 210 Zoom shows since April 2nd when I started them. We have our in studio, which we started back August, private studio in Hollywood, California. And then I give them the choice. Hey, you want to do that? Or we can do everything on iHeartRadio and all the other platforms like that also.
Okay, very cool. So when was your last show? Was it last week or before?
Oh, no, I do them almost every day.
So did
I
you
have to
finish
do a
all?
Halloween party. I have to do a Halloween party right after this one in
Oh my God!
Tennessee. For hours.
So what?
I didn't sign up to do that when they said, Brian, you're gonna host our Halloween party. I'm like, I am. Oh, okay. So let me get two of the girls, and we're gonna do that for 2 hours.
Oh my God. And where do you get all the energy to keep up?
uh, well, I don't drink coffee and I don't do drugs and I don't smoke, so it's just natural. You get tired. I'm sure you're aware. It's
Yeah.
exhausting. I don't know if you do yours once a week, if you do one every day, but we were doing two, three, 5 shows a day. That's
Well,
how we
no,
ended up having.
today is my 14th show right now.
Oh, in general.
No, today. Only in one day I did 14 shows.
Wow, that's way too many. Wow.
So yeah, and I just want I have still 3 or 4 to go. I mean, total I was 14, but I still have 3, 4. It's just I don't know, for some reason today was crazy schedule, but that's fine. I didn't reschedule anyone. I said, okay, I'll set a new Guinness Book of Records. So
That's a lot. That's impressive. So 4 shows in one day? Are they hour
yeah,
shows?
yeah, well, half hour. So I have half
Oh,
hours,
okay.
14 of them.
Then
But
that's easier, but that's a lot. You.
Yeah, well, but I get to meet all really nice people. Look at you. I don't get tired. When I talk to everybody is different. They all have very interesting, different stories to share. And I think I just had a guest, and it's just amazing. It's just kind of. I felt like it was my morning, full of energy. He was full of energy, and his energy spilled on me.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens. Yeah, and that's good. It's like I would always say, and back in the day, what it's going to be like when people walk in the room, and if they're not feeling it, you could kind of tell. You kind of have to dig harder to pull something out of them.
Mm, mm. So, tell me a little bit about what changes COVID has done to your, to your schedule and life.
Oh, it hasn't affected it. I saw it coming. I just didn't know what the virus was. I was prepared for it for 2 years.
Oh.
This is the best year ever.
So it hasn't done much change to your lifestyle.
No change. No, I started 2 years ago. I
Oh,
started putting everything third of 2018.
2018. You said you had COVID, or oh,
No, no, I saw all of this coming. I just didn't know what the name of it was going to be.
okay. Well, what kind of did you see a lot of people in the hospital, or did you see?
No,
Uh,
no,
over-
it's like climate change. You could see climate change coming if you're paying attention to it, providing you believe in it. Some people don't believe in it. So I
Mhm,
saw a lot of the changes. You could see a lot of changes coming in the movie business or in streaming. If you're paying attention to it, you could be able to adapt to it, adjust to
mhm,
it, and to the.
mhm. So yeah, so that is true. A lot of people. You're right with climate change and everything is changing. Things are definitely changing, and of course the virus mutates, and things. Even the COVID, what it was doing before, it already mutated. This is probably sixth strain, and is going to gradually
Absolutely.
so the all everything changes. You're absolutely right. So you were paying attention, you were reading the trends, how the climate was affecting every. I mean, there are more hurricanes, there are more bad weathers, there's temperatures going up, and so that definitely kind of pointed towards things getting worse. All right.
Absolutely. If you're paying attention to the trends, and you could see if you're watching what was going on before the Amazons were on fire, if you were watching the glaciers, whether it's in Alaska or whatever around the world, you could see things happening. I remember a movie called Chasing Ice. The
Mm,
filmmaker, a year prior to that, it was either 2003, 2006. He put 43 cameras around glaciers
mm,
around the world and watched them all change within an 8 month period out of that year. And his documentary ended up winning an award. It was called Chasing Ice. That's either in '03 or '06 when I talked to this guy. That taught
mm,
me a lot right there. You go on
mm,
National Geographic or watch stuff on PBS, you can see exactly what's going on. You can see what's happening. You can only see what's happening in Africa just by the animals. You can see what's going on in Yellowstone. We got 18 volcanoes that are active now. So if you're paying attention to the signs, you're not surprised by what's going on.
Mhm. And like now in Amazon forest, they were burned down. A lot of they were burning it down. I mean, you can imagine that. A lot of those is gonna have devastating effect.
Anytime you take a bunch of trees away, what do we need? We need lots of trees, we need a clean ocean, and we need lots of bees. What's been dying off? Whenever time, every time there's a fire, less trees, right? Less soil to keep that stuff. Whenever you have a flood or rain or flooding, anything like that, that's not good. And when you have no bees, bees help pollinate everything. So when the bees have been dying off for years, there's a great movie called Land on a lady, I think it was in Pakistan, where she helped raise the bees. She had done it for decades. She only took what she needed from the honey and she left the rest of the honey for the bees. And then someone came in and wanted to disrupt that and they killed off half the bees. And then it was never able to be what it was. So you can't get too greedy when it comes to Mother Earth because she will go back.
Mhm. Now that is very smart, and a lot of people, it is like clear message, but a lot of people actually ignore it. They just kind of try to look other way, but there's no other way actually. You have to realize that everything is connected. So if we ruin the forest, and it is sad that humans are the only species on this planet which don't help any part of the planet, pretty much ruining it, right?
Right. If you're watching the animals leaving Yellowstone, if you type in Yellowstone or elk or wolves or the bison, they've been leaving Yellowstone. What does that tell you? Well, Yellowstone is got a volcano underneath it. They know. It's just like dogs know an earthquake, a couple seconds or 15 minutes before it happens. There's
Mm,
always signs, there's always warning. We don't always pay attention to it, but I do.
mm. So what you're saying is that if all animals are leaving, maybe volcano might erupt and might send, maybe it's pretty because we in medical profession we knew that the major change in the virus, flu family, is was gonna have pandemic. I mean, it was due. 100 years had passed. 1918,
Yes.
and then we knew 2018. It was like gonna every 100 years there's a big change in the virus. And is gonna turn ferocious. Or sad thing is, no lesson learned. If you look in 100 years, the deaths were 500,000 or more, and still it is climbing towards that. Sad thing, if you look at that. So in 100 years, humans made no progress in that respect. Maybe in other respect, but the outcome hasn't changed much.
Well, yeah, it's like, the Amazon had a lot of remedy potions in there. Why would you burn it down? So imagine what was trapped there that's now out open in the air. When when you've got things that are open, when the glaciers are starting to melt, and one glacier jumps into the water of the ocean, the water levels rise up. Well, that's a no-brainer. You could see Miami being flooded throughout the day. You could see when the levees broke in Louisiana. You could see that. They've had 5 storms here. That's no surprise. If I lived in Louisiana, I would be moving because it's not the right place state to live in anymore. There's no protection.
Hmm. Yeah, and then definitely. And the sad thing is now the water, with glaciers melting, the water levels will rise, and a lot of cities will be underwater. And then all of a sudden
Absolutely.
we'll say, "Oh my God, what happened? Flood came." But we knew, you're absolutely right. We knew the trend is gonna get worse. We know, but it's just waiting one day to hear. When in Thailand and so forth area there was tsunami, big. Well, they knew that they're gonna mess up all that area, so it's gonna, nature takes its course. It knows how to repair.
Well, we know there's going to be a tsunami on the West Coast. That's one reason why the ranch that we're building, which is all environmentally friendly, sustainable, and the first test model for net zero, is 1,900 feet above sea level. We know there's going to be a tsunami. We know, Chinese smog. If you're burning too much from the factories, that pollution will be carried by the wind to the west coast. We know that. We know the Earth is getting hotter, so we know you have to be higher up now. You could see from the fires burning. California has 2 fire seasons. So we're well positioned where we want to be. We'll be one of the few places, probably in the entire country, if not the world, that is in the right location. You got to be higher up now. Got plenty of water. You have to have. Um, you've got to have the smart technology to prevent a lot of stuff. So, for example, drinkable air or water jam, you want to be able to capture that water out of the air so you can preserve it, because it's like a circle. It's like a cycle.
Hmm, hmm. No, that makes sense. But I'm glad that you do pay attention and you highlight that. But a lot of people, unfortunately, they think it's so. Also, in our program, we had a couple of guests, and we discussed about space. They are putting all the junk around the Earth, actually, and then they, those satellites, and if there is no way to get rid of the debris from space. It's like on oceans, you dump and dump. So where is gonna go? It's gonna either come down or it's gonna cover the earth from sunlight, pretty much.
Well, that's an interesting case because you got a lot of stuff floating out there in particles in space. Where is it going to go? But you also have a lot of the only thing we can't prepare for is an asteroid or a comet. There's no way you can defend on that. Now, as you know, they're testing little things now, and maybe they could change it. That one that's like 2 years away, they could change it slightly, throw it off course so that it doesn't hit Earth. If they do it, they'll go by it. If it will circle right back around, and they'll have to do it a couple years later. No.
Hmm. And if you remember that movie with the space, those small particles, they were floating around and it was so hard, for Sandra Bullock, if you remember, to even, to think about that, and, was really upset on that movie, remember? So I think that that's probably reality is now going to
Oh
be
yeah,
Sandra.
it was Gravity with Gravity with George Clooney. It was
Yeah,
very.
yeah. And that's a very realistic move because there was so much debris, and then that is gonna be a big problem. And unfortunately there's no constitution, no laws regulating right now space. So they want to kind of dump everything up there, and then who is responsible? There is I think we had a guest and we talked about space constitution, and we talk about that, there should be beside, so there are so many things going wrong, unfortunately, in the wrong direction.
Well, I look at it this way. Why are we going back into space trying to be in another planet if we can't take care of this one? And
Yeah,
then whatever planet we get to, who's to say that won't be one? That's how I look at it.
yeah, yeah, exactly the same thing. The other guest said is we ruined earth and now we are going to Mars and moon to ruin it.
Exactly. We've seen too many movies where it doesn't work out.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't work out, but we know if we take care of this planet, things will get better.
Well, and that's one reason why we ranch the Dreamweaver Artist Ranch, because it's about taking care of Mother Place. You only take what you need. The Indians used to do it. They were fine until someone came in and invaded them, right?
Yeah, yeah, and then destroyed the whole thing. And I mean, industrialization, of course, is helpful, but it's all. I mean, it has to be responsible. I mean, your action should be responsible for, because if we do problem for Earth, we are the one should be cleaning it. It's like plastics that we're dumping everywhere. I mean, there's no way to even get rid of that. And so then oceans, people throw things there everywhere, cut the trees, and then in the name of lumber and so forth. It's sad. It's very sad.
There's enough trees around the world, but as the way the earth has gotten higher, hotter, and more fires, you have to replace them. So one organization that I like that I found a couple of years ago was Tree Sisters. You know, they wanted
Mm,
to plant 1 billion trees. Feed the
mm,
trees, just like I said earlier, that we need bees. You know, without trees and bees, we're not going to survive.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, we are not gonna exactly survive. That is so true. Actually, they were, in Pakistan, they were experimenting with drones to plant trees. They were trying to put 1 billion trees in remote places, and they were gonna do with drones.
Did it work? Or
Well,
they're
I
still
haven't
testing?
seen, yeah, testing, but I thought it's not a bad idea to put, in. Yeah, but main thing is, if it's gonna be dry, planting tree is one thing, but taking care of it to make sure it grows is another thing.
Exactly. On our property, whether it's 550 acres, we only want to use 36 acres. 10 to grow our own food on fertile soil that's never been contaminated, it's never had a fire on it, and it's never had any fracking on it. Those three things are important. And also, it's one of those things where, like I said, in California, it's got 2 fire seasons. So now you have to be able to defend these things.
Mhm,
And if you can't do 2 things, you're in trouble.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah, that is so true. So also, you talk about, you say on your shows, you talk about some lifestyle too.
Yeah, for fitness, fashion, because 6 out of the 10 girls are in the world of fitness. So healthy eating, no processed food. You know, I think I'm like 2 pounds heavy right now, but in general, it's only because we've been sitting more. But in general, I do my best to eat not processed food, good healthy food, the best that I can. I drink lots of water because people you got to drink lots of water. The earth is getting hotter, but your brain, we need it.
Mm. And I have a big, a lifestyle, big interest, and I have my book also. You can see this. Keep it simple: diet, sleep, and exercise. And actually, I lost myself 100 pounds natural way. Okay, no artificial stuff. And then so a lot of my diet, sleep, exercise I emphasize. I've helped 4,000 people lose weight. Especially problem is a lot of minorities, uh,
Yeah.
they are worse. They are worse. I mean, they are the sickest and they are the worst in lifestyle. So I really encourage, any avenues we get to teach and realize that lifestyle is not just for looks. It's just also very important that for your own health, because you'll be sick and you'll be really not able to take care of yourself. That's worst thing, right?
Yeah, and that makes sense at that point. You do. Again, that's where it goes to not eating processed food because that's a lot of it.
Mhm.
If you're in low income areas, low income housing, you're gonna eat what's close to you, what's fastest. A lot of times it's fast food. What is it? It's processed.
Mm. And then just eat appropriately, because the best thing is just make sure don't overeat, because your body doesn't know where to store all that, so, and especially with
Exactly.
the stored these food, the chemicals, and these sugars. Our body is not made for those sugars. It is made
Exactly.
for a simple stuff. It is kind of which it can process. So the body doesn't know where to get rid of that, because first of all, we are sitting or not burning enough calories and not using it. So there's no way for body to kind of understand that. We have to help our body. I mean, that's our message, and what we also do. Actually, that's what started me into media. So I first wrote book 4 years ago, and then then a lot of my patient asked me, oh, if you can explain us. So I said, okay. So we started explaining, but now video first I did program. Now we have our TV. It's on 130 countries. So
Wow, that's really good. Good for you.
but the lot of as you know, a lot of wrong messages are out there. So we want to make sure people listen to positive message, listen to real message, and want to share the success stories. So I'm glad that you also do lifestyle. Congratulations, you do great job. Anyway.
Hey, when you have a lot of beautiful women and they're in the health or fitness or fashion world, you
Hmm.
learn a lot from them.
Okay, good for you. Good for you. But there are people who would still not learn. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, yeah. But great. I mean, I would definitely check your show out too. Thank you for coming to our show. Yeah, it's been pleasure. And any final thoughts for my audience?
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see what you have coming out next because what we talked about is very, very important. And like I said, we only got one planet. It's not one outside in the space. Don't count on that one. It's the one that we have here. We have to take care of it. We don't take around it because you can see what's going on. And COVID-19, it's got brothers and sisters, which I'm sure are a lot more powerful than what we have right now.
Mm, mm, mm. Well, thank you once again for coming to our show, and everybody listening. Check out his show, movie reviews, and Brian, I have also my short movie. I'll send you. Check it out, and then let me know how you like it. So, take care, Brian. Thank you for
Okay.
coming to. Take care.
Yeah. Yeah. Please send me a link. I'm a movie whore. I love movies.
Okay, okay. Let me know. Okay, and we'll definitely have you back whenever you have time. Come back, and I mean, I love talking to you about a lot of stuff. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. You just let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.